Wat een jaarsteam. En?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Finally. Okay. We're there. All right. No problem. Okay. Hi guys. Welcome to our little overview that we are trying to create from the finally project. Okay. We're there. First off, we prepared some videos for you guys of last year. No problem. Okay. Hi guys. What you can expect from welcome from our little overview that we are trying to create from the finally project. Okay. We're there. First off, we prepared some videos for you guys of last year. No problem. Okay. Hi guys. What you can expect from welcome from our little overview that we are trying to create from the finally. Okay. We're there. First off, we prepared some videos for you guys of last year. No problem. Okay. Hi guys. What you can expect from welcome from our little overview that we are trying to create from the finally.
Boomers, what the fuck.
Okay, let's have a look at the next one.
Ja, oké, die naam hebben we aan Ton hier.
Ja, dat is Malvina. Ja.
Okay, so I believe this one is actually the color. No, it's the Contract Life project from last year.
Zeg maar, is sound nu opgelost?
Sound ik kunnen afzetten van de video's.
Oké.
Okay, so we'll see the video then without the sound from the video. Okay, that's fine. So this is a project we also did last year from Leidal. They wanted to promote.
They have a live festival and they wanted to have a promotion around their country walking tour.
Yeah, there was art spaces around the country, around Kortrijk, and this is an interactive application that they wanted to have at, I think, at some tourist information center.
Due to Corona, didn't went through, but the setup was 3 panels, and the goal was to have the guests of that event interact with the monuments that they have on their walking tours. They were very happy with it, even though the event didn't continue. They actually made a web version of this project, so you can actually find this on the website of Contract Live.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so it can be played right now. This was a really beautiful project.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the best that we had last year. Yeah.
So and then the last one we've included is actually a port for a company you might expect. It's the Colruyt. I know most Belgian people know Colruyt. So they came to us and they had a request where I think it was in the context of training of their personnel, I think. A little bit.
Yeah, so the idea of this application was to not training of their employees. It's also focused at people that just want to know about Colruyt or something. It's a store manager. You could place.
Well, it's a simulation game in which you
a
have to
sim
manage
game.
a store.
Voila, that's the thing. But very nice, small made mobile game. Works really well on mobile. So Colruyt was very happy with this. And this is also why we again have a Colruyt project. They actually submitted 3 projects. So they were really happy, but we only approved 1. But that was really a success story as well, the store manager.
Yeah. So I believe they also have their own research and development division that actually is working on these kind of little projects.
To be clear, these are examples from last year.
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
are not projects that we're going to do again this year. There are going to be different projects because people are asking questions. Is this from last year or not?
This is from last year, yeah. So we wanted to show you this project because last year we got some feedback that said, oh, we have to work for companies. We just wanted to show you that you get a creative start with some limitations, but where you take the project, and we hope we can illustrate that in a minute, that's up to you. Yeah? So most of the projects that we selected actually allow you to take what they're requesting and making it into a game.
Yeah, most of the projects, that's true. Yeah.
So
I think actually this year we only have game projects. There's not really any non-game projects.
Yeah, this year we even have projects from actual Belgian game studios that had something laying around that they want to see finished. So let's have a look maybe at the projects that we have for this year.
Yes.
So what you will be seeing now is a list, or we go through the lists of all the projects that we collected for you guys this year, and we'll be putting, or Alex will be putting the entire documentation online, also on Lego, where you can find the extra information.
Yeah, per project.
In the end, we will also put the actual instructions on how you will submit your 3 choices online. So don't worry about it yet. Focus on the different projects and try to think about which one you would like. Each year we have some really good projects that most students pick as a top 1. So I would give you the advice to maybe think a little bit more tactical. Your first choice will probably be the most popular one for everybody. Yeah? Your second choice and your third choice are most of the time different from other people, in the sense that those are the ones that you personally see, oh, I could do something special with this project. So there's a good chance you end up with the second or the third choice. In the worst case, we might even give somebody a choice that they didn't pick. So be smart about the choices that you actually make this year.
People that are on this channel for VFX, this is not the place. It's only about game projects.
Yeah, weekly announcements. This was directed at the game projects. So unfortunately, no VFX. So concerning VFX, I know that they have 4 projects or 5.
I believe Dirk yesterday already.
But that's Dirk's stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe doing game projects.
Yeah.
Because I saw people asking, what about VFX projects? But this is not the time to.
All right, let's open up.
Let's see. Now do I have everything? Okay, Tech for Fun. I don't know who. Nico.
Yeah,
that's yours.
So the first submission we're going to discuss is from Tech for Fun, which is an on-site team building. They do on-site team building events with all kinds of technology like drones, robots, segways, etc. And you can also see the contact information which you'll get for all the projects, which in this case is both the product owner and the technical contact is the same person.
Next slide.
Yes. And the game they submitted, so that they asked for, is a couch co-op VR game, which involves solving several puzzles in order to get to the end. It's a game for 5 to 6 people, and one person will have a VR headset on, and the other people have a tablet and are going to assist the person that's wearing the VR goggles, so they can help this person using codes, physical objects, clues, etc. The competition lies in the time in which the teams finish or how far they get. These are going to be very short games, so from 3 to 5 minutes, after which the person with the headset passes it on to the next one until everybody has had their turn. Very important for this project is the feel-good vibe, so things to keep in mind is theme-wise or fantasy, sports, detective parties, stuff like that, and things to avoid are, for example, horror, combat, strategy, education, those kinds of things. Then to illustrate, if we go to the next slide, to illustrate, and I don't know, it's a very short video, I don't know if we have time for this video. It's a game that you might know, which comes very close to what these people expect, but the theme is a little bit different. So the theme in this case is very strategic, diffusing bombs, and Tech for Fun is asking for a little more family friendliness. But the game mechanics, so the way people play this game, one person operates and tries to defuse the bomb in VR, and people give clues, hints, try to help this person. So this comes very close to the game that they're actually expecting.
So this year also, if a project uses VR or VR headsets or whatever, we make sure that the hardware of the company is really there on Friday already.
Yeah, and so for this
so
one,
that's not something you have to worry about. They're clearly looking for a asymmetric game in this case,
Yes.
where they can use one VR headset for a
that's
group of people to entertain.
Yeah, that's true. So you have a team, one people is standing in the middle, has a headset on, and experiences the game, and other people need to help him in a team challenge. That's the idea.
So also with group projects, the goal will be on Monday that you will have a talk with the companies to figure out and to go into discussion and already do some proposal. In the prototype week, the first few weeks, you will be working towards something that you could present to them and then focus on and finish it actually.
Yeah.
So let's maybe go to the next one.
Yes, then just a couple of specifics that they gave us. You'll be doing this with an Oculus Quest with hand tracking. Very simple controls are going to be required for this game. They also specifically mentioned no recurring costs for software or licensing, which is understandable. And it also has to be playable offline because it will happen in environments with unreliable Wi-Fi or internet. So no online IPAs. The target audience is pretty broad. It's from 18 to 65, and it has to be very achievable for everybody and be language independent because both Dutch, French, and English people will play this game. So they need to be able to play the game in whatever language they see fit. And then there's going to be a plenary explanation for a large group in which the groups will split up and then try to win the competition as good as they can.
Yeah, I know the headset thing in Corona, it's valid what you say. Of course, the thing is we will organize this course in groups of 5.
Consider
as
your
you know,
group your new bubble.
Voila. The idea is that your student group is your bubble. So within these 5 people, you can be a little bit closer, right? But outside of that, we don't pass any headsets around, of course.
But indeed, in the context of Corona, you will have to be in the hive half a day normally.
Yeah.
And we've prepared disinfectant and so on, and hand sanitizer. So yeah, I hope you already got used to the whole situation because it will be more of the same.
Okay, but let's go to the next project. That's information I will give on Friday.
Happy Volcano. I don't know who prepared this one. Yeah, Steen, go ahead.
So Happy Volcano is a company in Leuven, I guess. A game company. It's well known for mostly their mobile games, and now their latest game, you can park or something, or you can drive your car. But now they have submitted a concept that originally was card deck mobile game roguelike, but that prototype they would like to see in more like in a PC platform build. They are open for suggestions, but it should be based on, it should be grid based and
the next
roguelike.
slide, yeah, probably.
Ah, sorry, yeah,
So
my bad. Yeah, that's
the description they gave, and that's a visual of actually one of their prototypes they already
yeah.
made themselves.
yeah. So in this case, this was all 2D. This was all 2D art assets. They are open for 3D assets. They don't care that much, especially if it's going to be built for PC. But it should be card based, like I told you, roguelike, and grid based. And of course, in the same kind of style, art style, which is normally in vibrant medieval-ish setting.
Yeah. So when we talked to them, Alex, they were looking for somebody that was also willing to look into the game design. It used to be mobile. I think it also could go to desktop PCs for the
I thought so, yeah. So it says here, a PC console is something that they would like to target as well. You're quite open in I mean, we have the concept here, we have a game design.
Yeah, it's the stacking of the stones, but
Voila.
that's up to
Besides
that
that,
point. Yeah. Besides that, you're really open where you're going to go. The big advantage is this is one of the game companies that actually released multiple games already, Belgian games.
Yeah.
They're also looking for internships. So
Yeah.
most of the game companies are also looking for internships.
It's also mentioned in the document itself that they are open for internships.
Okay. ING.
Yes, that's also me. So everybody knows ING, and ING has a department in which they have in-house game developers that make specific games for ING. Also, you can see the contact, and in the next slide we see an illustration, a very rough illustration of the game that they expect. Right, so they expect a type of virtual escape room, which is multiplayer and online. And you can distinguish 3 roles that the players can choose. So you've got the regular players that have to pick specific roles specific to the type of situation, the incident that they need to solve. Then there is a game master that you see at the right corner. So this think of the dungeon master in Dungeons and Dragons. And then there's a spectator that you can see behind the screen, which is for evaluation purposes. Which brings me to the whole point of the game, which is to train tech developers how to act in specific crisis situations. So how to solve incidents. That is the goal that they have. So how to act under a lot of pressure. Who are we? This is something I already mentioned, and the virtual escape room problem solving is going to be important. So it's a project meant to learn people something, but the entertainment value is also important for immersion purposes.
If I remember correctly, they actually built the physical room, but
Yes.
Corona is the reason that they had to go towards the VR.
They built the physical war room, which is the name of the room in which all the people, the crisis solvers are being summoned.
So once again, you'll end up with the research and development team of the bank in this case,
Yes.
who actually already had a good idea on what the physical game would be.
Yeah, indeed. They
So
already
they're
made.
looking for input from you guys on how they could actually make the virtual version and make it even better then.
Yeah, on Leo you can also find the narrative that they expect and a giant flow chart that you can follow when you're designing this game.
Yeah, so the escape room is already quite designed, qua steps that can be taken by the people that play in it and the results of their actions. Eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's quite set in stone. Of course, I mean, you'll meet with the people from ING. They'll give you an idea on how far you can deviate from that setup. But I think that setup is the minimal part
so
that needs to be
developers
implemented.
and artists, less need for game design for this one. I would say.
Yeah,
Okay,
true.
let's have a look at the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
the fact that it's online, and then a last thing to mention is that it's going to be in Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah, that's an
Kind of
important
thing.
one. So some companies already know what game engine they want to use because
Yeah.
they're actually already using it internally.
Yeah, so that's the case in this. So ING, I know it's a bank, but this is apparently a department with developers that even create games in-house. So they know their way around and they know what they want in this case. Yeah.
So, just in case you were wondering what they're doing with your money. Okay, oh, that's mine. So we already showed you a movie on My Machine. So just as DAE isn't really known in that they're doing this in the West, My Machine is one of those projects that nobody knows about, but it's actually a global project that originated here from one of the colleagues of West. It's one of those projects, if you ever got the feeling that, well, maybe schools are not doing it right, this is a project that's trying to get small children up to other children from ages 14 to 18 and then you people to find a new way of learning and cooperating together. And you see in the movie, it's always one of those projects where there's no limit to your creativity, but you start out, and maybe I should show you the picture I have and try to find the students of DAE from last year. But the goal is that you actually go to these kids and actually ask them what are the nice things and what are the kind of inventions that you want to see in your life. And for example, last year I think they came up with 20 different inventions, and last year was also the first year that the students actually worked all 20 different inventions into the game.
Yeah,
so you end up with, as a game designer it's a real challenge, of course, because you have these clients who are not limited by reality, who are not been misinformed by anything that tells them that they can't do it, and you just have to work with them and make it into a whole consistent ID. So that means that if you're an artist, you get some requirements, you have to go and figure out a good style that works with it. If you're a developer, you have these 20 different inventions that need to be brought together in an entire system. So it is really a challenging project, but to me it's one of the more rewarding ones. In the end, they also take all the students that worked on the project to the actual event where they can demonstrate their work, which is a good networking opportunity also. And that's also the reason why this is one of the projects we always take up every year. The results are always really nice on this one. Let me see if I can cut something. So yeah, just to give you an impression of how it starts out. So the first one is a drawing, I don't know, probably not from the DAE students, right? And then the first initial sketches end up in a 3D model. And then, well, the 3D model seems simple, but I had to actually make a whole bunch of these. And then you see some different shots of the actual game, which last year included a racing game, a platform part, a fighting part, a rhythm part, and so on. So there was a lot of opportunity to actually, if you know, I want to make my own game, but I don't really have an idea, this might be the best project for you, I think.
There's always just a chaotic and fun result you have from this. For this project, the first meeting has already been set up, so on Monday, whoever's on this project will already have a meeting with the people from My Machine, and where we arrange that you meet the children and talk about their plans and dreams. Okay. So this is one thing we do every year, and every year it's fun. It's always fun to do this.
It's a wild card we take every year, and every card just as wild as last year.
Yeah, it's always cool.
Okay. And then another one, this is Simus, which is a Belgian game developer, and he's one of the game companies, game designers that actually reacted to our call to the Belgian industry for proposals. And he actually wrote an entire new proposal, I believe it is, for something that he wants to do together with DAE students to actually get this game funded. So this is a vertical slideshow we'll be making of an idea he has. And the game is kind of based on what you're doing in Limbo or in Tales of Sons, Brothers Tales of Sons. And the goal is to have a kind of asymmetric gameplay. And me being a dad, I like the idea. It's a game you can play as a parent with your kids ages 8 and up, where they actually get better in playing a game, and in the end they can actually brag to you that they're getting better in there. And it needs to have a narrative. So I think the narrative in this case, he already has a good idea, is a game where suddenly you get a kid crawling out of your back and you have to take care of it, and you decide together with your partner that you want to move out to a better place. So you start out in a grey zone, you have to go to a dark zone, and you end up in a nice zone. So I think he specifically also mentioned he's looking for some designers to help bring this idea to a good visual concept. Art designers. He's also looking for some game designers to find mechanics that actually work with when you have a good player and a new player, or a player that doesn't have that much experience with games. So let's see what I put in the other slides.
That's indeed the idea, like you said there. So the game is meant to be played by someone who is proficient in game and someone less proficient. And often, of course, that's the parents with the children, right? But it can actually be you with your grandmother as well, right? And the idea is that the person that's not proficient in gaming enjoys it and learns to play the game while you actually help
and I
through
think
the game.
You guys are perfect in that sense because you're probably one of the first generation that started gaming at a young age, so you know what you would like to have as a kid. And now you're already getting a bit more proficient, so you like what you would like to have as a more adult gamer. So find a balance, find some mechanics that work for both type of players at the same time. So
and as Steven mentioned, the idea is indeed that if this turns out to be a successful prototype, it should become it can become a VAF submission for development later on, and who knows what's possible after that. But of course, we first have to see what rolls out of this. But I think this will be a nice project to work on. It can be a very beautiful
you're working with a
result.
game designer that already published and designed some games for. I think he also worked at Larian, I think, or not?
No, not Larian. No.
But he worked at some of the same companies you worked at.
He's an ex-colleague of mine.
So he does have quite some experience, and you could learn a lot from him.
Yes.
So
this kitchen rehab.
Yeah.
Kitchen rehab.
Yeah. Stijn, go ahead.
So is that handy talk?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. So this is a project from University Hospital in Ghent, I guess.
Yeah.
And they are looking for a VR game that simulates, that helps patients for activating the upper body limbs and movements, and also to have the ability to perform simple tasks, to even just to put them in the right order for following logical steps, so dual tasking also, just to stimulate those patients to help them with their problems. This idea should be the idea is to have tasks simulated in a kitchen, which should have simple tasks like just make a cup of tea to making a pizza. So pizza should be like a really step by step, but also just mobility movements. They are open for suggestions inside the kitchen, but it should start definitely with simple tasks to not that complex tasks, just the kitchen rehab.
Yeah. So this is also a project that we're doing with another education in West Ecotherapy. Maybe you Belgian TV watchers might have seen a series from, I believe, Axel Dassler, in which he went and visited this department of the UZ Ghent. It's people that have been have problems at their spine and lost the ability to grasp things and so on. So it is really an experience that helps these people train and practice and get their quality of life better. So it's a bit of doing back also to the environment. It's now presented a more boring kitchen activity, but it's not really true, because we have the option of actually making this into a mini game. The goal is that they learn how to do certain tasks.
That's correct. So there should actually be two modes to this. You have the mode where the player trains in doing something in the kitchen, like making a pizza or something, or even making coffee. It's really something that they struggle with, right? So that can be a training mode. But the idea is as well that we have a game mode that we can challenge the player by, he has to prepare an entire meal and make coffee, and then suddenly all the assignments start to mingle with each other. He trained in those handling, the things he needed to do. But then at some point we can mix it together, and then it becomes challenging, and then you can try to, for example, you can make a time mode that you try to keep up as long as you can or something.
Don't make these people slice 20 tomatoes in a row, for example.
Then
Make it something fun so they actually want to train. See it as more as the kitchen simulator VR games that you have, but the exercises need to be checked by the people from the tent if they are actually training the right muscles and so on.
That's the thing. So we have the training mode and we have the challenge mode, and this game really needs to have 2 modes. Keep that in mind.
Okay, let's have a look.
That's good.
Yeah, same slides.
In motion.
In motion.
Okay, who prepared in motion, guys?
That was
Yes, me. Sorry.
Yeah,
Nico, you go.
In motion, so the product owner in this case is in motion by Hoest, and what they do is they experiment with exer games. So the name kind of is self-explanatory, which is meant to by playing a game get people to exercise and move in a fun way. Product owner, if you tell, right? And what they expect is an interactive VR game for team building events. So the goal is to offer visitors, like I said, a combination of sports and technology. But they do have a couple of criteria, so recognizing and tracking the position of real-life objects is going to be important for this project, right? So an example for this would be a dumbbell which you can lift that you can also see in the game, but that has a physical weight and thus contributing to the whole exercising aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Gamification elements are also important to keep the game fun and keep the people immersed, and the end goal is to make sure that the people don't really realize that they're exercising. So that's the whole point of the game. And they give in the more in-depth briefing on Lego, you can read a couple of ideas and pointers that they give. For example, an endless runner, to try and avoid physical objects. The theme is totally up to you guys, so that's good news for the artists. Audio feedback, tutorial levels, all that type of stuff. An extra option that they did mention is to measure the heart rates of the players and make sure that the players can see this real time. So there will be a Polar OH1 sensor to your disposal that you can use for this, but this is was mentioned as optional. And then there's also a video of an example to give you an idea. This game will
YouTube video streaming.
So this is from last year. Yeah.
So there's going to be 2 projectors, a truss system with 2 projectors, one on the wall and one on the floor. That you can see over there. There will also be HTC Vive trackers that you can use that people can attach to their wrists or legs. So that's one thing that will be at your disposal. The target audience will be between 25 and 45, but it needs to be for any level of physical activity. So anybody should be able to join, and it should be approachable and doable for everybody. The intuitive design is going to be a key element for this game. And the context in which it's going to be used is the Sports Cube, something that Hoest invested in, which houses a lot of commercial exert game setups, but it could also be a starting point for research, and the way it's going to happen is it will always be in small groups under the supervision of a coach.
True.
So this is one of those other cooperations with the Sport Innovatie Campus from Hoest in Bruges. If you look up the name Evibatel, you will find articles from the New York Times, I believe, from Financial Times, because these e-hilt or the e-exer games, as they are called, are really popular. And I can guarantee you, I played the one from last year. They're actually really sports. They're not just esports or whatever you want to call them.
So and this year, the special thing about it is that it needs to be like you said, Nico. It needs to be with physical objects that you move around. So it's not just lifting. That's not the idea. It's you think out of the box. You have objects that are in the scene. and you have to you need to be moving them around. So lifting them, placing them somewhere else. So you can make some puzzle game for that. You can try. I don't know. You have to
and I believe
think out of the box.
It's with the projection screen. So this one is corona-proof free for those of you that are really worried about it. But yeah. I believe this is the third time in a row we actually done this. The first iteration was the rhythm game, the dancing game. Now we had the running game, and now we're integrating the
physical
dumbbells
objects.
and the physical objects. So we're looking for something new to actually go further with this. Okay. The requirement is Unity.
Mentioned all those things. Yeah, and the platform is Unity.
So maybe that's an important one if you really want to go for Unity or Unreal. And then we have the Fitspeed.
Fitspeed is a company, branch actually, already has like 50 companies divided, spread in Flanders. It's a company with a small yearly annual fee. You can rent a bicycle, and at any time you could exchange the bike for another bike. For example, if at young age, if a year or whatever, you're growing, so you can't drive the same bike every time, and then you can just every year switch the bike, or even during the year. And so on and so on. Now that's their business plan. What they would like to make more name for themselves is make a game of it, and it's a mobile game in a race style, where you race inside a traffic environment with real life events mentioned in the document, where you can earn coins and so on to customize your bike and so on and so on. From what I read, it's more like a roguelike, so from the moment you make one mistake, you start over, and so on. But they are still open for suggestions. What you see in the visuals is just what they think it could look like.
But it's with real life pictures, that's not the idea, of course.
So don't worry about that.
They don't have experience in games also.
So
but it is on tablets, and you will be provided a tablet, so make sure.
They want it on mobile, But indeed, it's a racing game. The only limitation is it should be bikes that are for rent in the Fitspeed, so that you can recognize.
So
they should be recognizable. It's a promotional game for their product, the Fitspeed.
So the goal is, maybe I will clarify, if you have kids, they really need a new bike every 2 years. So what they allow you to do is they allow you to bring in the old bike of your kid, and for a very cheap price, take out a new bike. Until they, you know how it goes in Belgium, when they get 12, they get their own real bike, and then it's done. But all the time before that, they can actually
they can swap bikes at the Fitspeed, and that's it.
And also it's an organization that does something extra for people that have problems and so on. So it's a nice project also in this case.
And engine, you can choose which engine you like.
So indeed, just needs to be mobile, but there's no.
It should run on Android.
Okay. So HitLab.
HitLab.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a fun one. HitLab stands for Human Interaction Technologies Laboratory, and this is an open project in which you can come up with different suggestions or designs. But the idea is to use all of this fun, cool hardware detection for different neural reactions in human beings to make the gameplay. So for example, they have a way to detect, because of the hardware, the gaze direction, the pupil size, the respiratory rate, and some stuff about reaction of the skin. So the idea is to use the biometrics and this neuroscientific research that they have and use it to detect the responses of the player, and because of that make the design make a game. They do provide in the documentation that's in Liho a couple of examples, but it's just sort of like an idea of stuff that they could. But one of the cool things is that you have this fun hardware to work with, and you can make your own suggestion based on that. It's based also for VR, and you can it's for Unity or Unreal. Although based on their documentation, they do lean towards Unity, and they do provide some hardware
for example, the detection of all the parametrics. But if you have some heads that you can use on your own, that's good because their resources are limited. So I think this is a fun one.
Yeah.
It's targeted for teenagers and adults, for training and for use at work and clinics.
Yeah. So the cool thing about this project is that last year this was a graduation work.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
The student, the group project of the student was actually my machine also last year. It was Jordi.
Yeah, true.
And Jordi is actually working there now, so he will actually be giving you this information, or he will be helping you out with the research he did from last year.
Yep.
And he's still working there on the same project. So the hardest part, he did some studies on what is flow, for example, which is a measurement of how somebody is in the game. And the goal is for you to make a game in which you can use these, and they will later on transform this into a way of actually having a look at people that are doing trainings in VR or concentrating, or if tasks at hand or hard enough or not hard.
Yeah, so the prototype phase for this project will be fun. We get these hardware thingies and that gives input. What will we do with that input? What does that input look like will be the first question, and then after that we know that, then okay, what can we do with this? And so that can really be, can all go all ways, and I hope something very original comes out of this. Yeah. Could be very cool.
Corpus VR.
Corpus VR, that's also a VR project. This is for the Oculus Quest or Pico Neo. That's also stated in the documentation in LIHO. And the idea for this is to use the game, or make an applied game in which you help some people with shoulder problems to train their movement. Mm-hmm. And they have a way to measure the exact height and the exact rotation and whatnot. So the idea is to use all of that movement that they say it's boring, and when people need to make the process of recovering their movement and their proper mobility, it's usually so tedious that they don't do it. So the idea is to make a game, sort of like what was mentioned before, that you don't really realize that it's a game, and make it fun, not only like, just make a movement and just making an actual game and make it as fun as possible. And again, it's for VR, which is usually also fun to work with. It needs to be with Unity and C#.
Because again, they will work on it once it's done. They have people that are proficient
with the same technology. Yeah. And the target audience is for people over 18, mostly people over 40 who have shoulder injury and need to make some exercises to recuperate their mobility.
But game design wise, this is a real challenge because the input that needs to happen in this game is your arm that goes up to a certain height, and so the problem for these patients is that they can't get it all the way up, right? So I know I'm doing the I know.
It's not in the picture. Nobody's showing it's fine. But there's a very limited input that you have, so we will need a game designer that's willing to think out of the box.
Yeah. One thing that they do emphasize in their documentation is obviously something that probably you would gonna do anyway, to give specific rewards or specific incentives for different levels of achievement. Even if I was supposed to raise my hand all the way 90 degrees, but for the first time I was able to go over 60, then I get some sort of reward or eye candy or something to make it even more.
You need to entice people to try to get higher and higher, to get further and further in the game. And that will actually encourage them to do their exercises, is the goal of this project. So.
Yeah.
But design-wise, indeed challenging.
Okay, so I already saw that Tristan answered the question on the VR headsets. This year we actually told the companies, if you don't supply us the hardware, we're not accepting the proposal.
Yeah. So normally we get all the hardware from the companies.
Or DAE if it's a DAE.
So I'm expecting those on Friday, or at least Monday, or definitely in the first week that we start with this project.
Okay. So a game of stroke.
Yeah, game of stroke is for me. So as a cooperation between DAE Studios and AZ Groningen Kortrijk, which is a hospital here, they have a stroke department, for people that suffer a brain stroke. or a brain attack.
You guys don't have brains.
No, I
Sorry, maybe I should put
So what they want to accomplish with this game is to make people aware of the signs that you can see in people when they're having a brain stroke. Okay? The context here, for example, is people suffering from brain strokes are often elderly people, and often it's your grandchildren that are with you and that are seeing those signs. I'm not having a brain stroke right now, thank you. It's the children that are with the grandparents often, so they wanted to create a game to learn the audience how to recognize someone having a brain stroke. And you can go to the next slide. That's with a few, with the Be Fast. That's an acronym for the 6 things you can see. And the last one is what you should do. And so if a person is losing his balance, his eyes are off focus, his facial dropping, so that's really the chin that starts to drop or something. Arm that doesn't move as it should and is hanging, really hanging, so the shoulder's not up anymore, and has difficulty to speak. So if that one of those things happen, it might be a brain stroke that they are having, and then it's time to call 911 or in Belgium 112. Yes, it's 112. But I think so, yeah. So what they want to, next slide, what they want to create is a game targeted at younger people, at children, that are present with their grandparents, that just teaches them to recognize people having a brain stroke. So it needs to be a game where these people are present and recognizing avatars, NPCs that are running around in that game, and then doing something with the fact that you recognize it. And of course we have these 6 aspects of Be Fast, right? So of course you first teach the first one, then the second one, and then you start mixing them, blah blah blah. They have a few examples of games that they thought of that would be fun. For example, this is a picture from
Hospital 2.0.
Yeah, Hospital 2.0. That's an option, but they really don't really have a good idea, in my opinion.
I would say scrap their suggestions.
Voilà. So there's suggestions, but ignore the suggestions. Might be a starting point, but think up your own idea on how you would do this. And, I mean, there's no limit on how you would approach it. It can be. For all I care, I don't know, like sort of a zombie game. Of course, it's targeted at 6 to 10 year olds, so not scary or something.
Somebody was suggesting a horror game. I would not.
So don't go horror. The age target audience is 6 till 10, but something like that is possible. That you really need to pick out people that are showing
that show one of those symptoms.
Symptoms, So it's possible. Again, design-wise, you have a chance at first, and then just executing this into some nice finished product. Also, it's again with DAE Studios, so this project, if successful, certainly has an afterlife, or via DAE Studios, or with the group that worked on it. It's possible that this might be taken up into an internship or something, but that depends a little bit on the outcome at the end. Okay. Questions, get in touch. Voila, if you have questions, you can always ask Michiel. Next slide, please. Steve. Yes, so Michiel is the chief of the DAE Studio, so you can, if you have extra questions on this project, of course all the information is on Leho, but if you have extra questions, just mail him. He's an amiable guy. He will tell you what his vision is. Okay.
Okay, and then, we saved the best for last. I think Tristan still has something to do.
Yeah,
should be.
I couldn't add them.
This is the last one I have from you.
Yeah, that's weird. I added another one yesterday, but apparently it didn't got saved. Okay, we'll do it later.
Well, we'll do it later. Let's have a look. I have a browser window free somewhere. Tristan, don't worry. There we go. Let's transition to
what the hell? That's weird.
Let's see if we got the new stream going on now.
Yeah, let's check.
Let me switch between something different. Wait.
En nu iedereen zegt 5 minuten. We pauze dan niet.
I want to
Actually,
walk.
It's back apparently. Okay.
Yes, wait until we see our own faces. There we go. Okay.
Now you see only your own faces.
So sorry, I can't put the slides on full screen because my audio disappeared. I'm not gonna try it a second time. Just gonna have to do with what we have.
All right.
Can I show?
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So this project is from a museum-like thing in the Ursulinen Institute in Flanders Field Museum in Ypres. And it's about, next slide please. So it's for DAE research and also with the museum itself, of course. The actually institute is in Sint-Katleen-Waver-Mechelen, so that's the region where it is. And it's about, so it's during the First World War. You had spies that contracted information from and different pieces from enemy line. And they smuggled those things over the border into other regions. And it's actually, next slide please. It's about the life of 3 females during that period that played an important role. So that's something that you're also going to have to take into account. You have those 3 females contracting all those information and so on. So next slide. So the game is going to be in the actually location of the Wintertuin. So there's a lot of reference and it has a very specific style, that room. It has an Art Nouveau style. You can change it if you want to. So next slide also. So you can see there's a lot of information for this room. You can change it, meaning that you can transform it into the World War I state. There was also it was also a little bit damaged. There was other things like bunk beds, to put soldiers on, sleeping and all this stuff. So you can decorate it with World War I stuff. So next slide. The puzzle IDs, you have to excuse me because I had an operation this week and I didn't have time to do everything. So like I mentioned, gathering the information, smuggling soldiers also to different locations in Belgium, and smuggle reports from Belgium into allies like the Netherlands, of course not Germany, because and France and so on. So there's, I mean, if you look at it, you can do a lot of stuff with this. It's also interest for artists. You can make a lot of World War I things.
And you have a nice location which needs to be modeled and built. So this is a set piece for an artist that wants to go model that one.
And you can create puzzle games and other stuff in it. So you can stretch it as far as you want within the boundaries, of course. I don't know about next slide.
It's for VR. So the question of the game is it VR or real? It's a game. It's going to be VR. So that would be a big challenge. Is how good can you get that Wintertuin room in VR actually?
Yeah, indeed. So the Oculus Quest, and for development, it's together with DAE Research. So those people are close at hand. So if there's issues, they always can help us out. So you can also use the Oculus Rift plus the cable, like it says, for quicker dev cycle. So if you, because apparently the Oculus Quest is slower for development, and I think the other one is much faster. So we can set it all up, and you have fast connection because the company is actually here within. I know they moved to the square. But they still close at hand. Eventually, they still close at hand.
No.
Okay. Next.
Engine choice.
Engine choice was.
It's free apparently, so they can use whatever engine they want.
Yeah, well, that's what we do also in game projects. You can see which one is best, so you can figure out yourself by doing a little prototype for both of them. Next.
And then the target audience.
Target audience. Come on.
So I see you mentioned 20 to 35.
20 to
so
35.
it's for adults that visit the museum and have an interest in what happens
Yeah.
With those three female characters.
Also, what I should have mentioned is it's an escape room-like experience, meaning that you're gonna have different locations playing within the museum, so different locations, and you're gonna have to interact with multiple players, starting from 2 until up to 4 players.
So yeah, Matthias, can we do it in the engine? I have no idea what it is, but as long as your artist can actually handle the engine and add art and they don't have to program the art, we could care less, I think.
Can we do it in what?
I have no
A
idea.
Minigin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it in Minigin. Yeah, well, by all means, go ahead. I know what Minigin is.
You should do it now.
It's the programming
Okay.
for
You
engine that we
have some
started.
other ones, I believe, also. Tristan?
Yeah, we have some other.
Tell me, which one you want to see? So call it Dash.
Yeah, call it Dreamland Dash. That's actually my personal favorite, Dreamland Dash, and it's the worst slide ever I made in my life. So sorry for that.
How could you not remove the
Yeah, I know it's the worst slide ever, but it's my favorite project. If I've been through all of them. So.
Okay, tell me, what about
Okay,
it? It's
so,
so nice.
Next slide, please. Yeah. So.
Yeah, dat is
Intermezzo.
Okay, can we play some wedding music while we are...
So we had a difficult choice between giving Christoph coffee or not. Chose for not. Yeah, that kind of backfired.
Okay, so Dreamland, like I mentioned, it's my most favorite one. It's a 3D racing game. It's a very nice idea. So you all guys know the Dreamland stores. For the people that are from abroad, it's actually toy stores, big toy stores here in Belgium. So you're gonna use existing vehicles that, like, from toys that they sell in the store, like skates, steps, steps, skateboard, and tricycle, and so on. So if you see other toys in that toy store that you can use as vehicles, by all means do. So they have to be on sale for Dreamland. That's very important. So it all has to be products from Dreamland. So next, so what I thought, of course, is Mario Kart. Seems kind of obvious. I'm not going to say we're going to duplicate Mario Kart, but it can be an inspirational thing. So the racetracks are actually modeled on a floor plan of the store itself. So it's going to be important that you obtain a blueprint of the store, or that you actually visit the store and do some measurements yourself. So people will be racing around the store. So you can use also shortcuts like you have in Mario Kart. And the other thing you can do is actually use toys as where you drive under or through or on and so on. So you can take toys out of the box and use them to create actually a interesting racetrack. They can also be obstacles or moving obstacles and so on. So again, I mean, this is the most important one that made me trigger my brain, like searching for other options and other possibilities. So next. Very important, of course, no blood. It's like in Mario Kart, if you crash, there's no blood and so on. I would also suggest that you, like in Mario Kart, it's hard to get stuck. You can get stuck, but it's hard to get stuck because in Mario Kart they want to have a continuously gameplay experience. So you don't want your player to get frustrated and get stuck on every hook and so on. So that's also important. Make it light, funny, slapstick. It's family friendly, of course, because it has to be a toy store. And also they want a leaderboard that they want to share on a website, if I'm not mistaken. Also,
Indeed, that's correct. So this game should be able to be played in a browser, because actually they want it to be part of the Dreamland website, so that if you go to the website of your store that's near you, you can actually play on the track of that store, right? And it's a promotional game, of course. So if you get a certain position in the leaderboard, they can give you a discount or something on a product of their stores. And they also want, well, that's not for this project, of course, but later on they would love to have this game on an arcade that can be placed in the store itself, so that people visiting the store can play the game.
For those that don't know, Dreamland is actually a subsidiary of Call of Duty, so that's
our
one
core
we took up
project.
this year.
Indeed, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Let's
So
see.
another
Yeah.
thing that's important, one of the goals is that advertising of toy suppliers like I don't know, NB or something like this that we mentioned. The thing is, I don't want that they are. I don't want logos everywhere of companies, but integrated.
Yeah, but that's also not something that I think we should focus on in the first. This is going to be a first draft of this project, of course. I don't think we should already incorporate that.
Incorporate banners
we can
and
do
things
that
like
later.
We can do it later on. Indeed, follow. It's not our priority.
Target audience was kind of clear.
Target audience is clear, 8-14, and also older children. What I found funny, I'm actually older than older children. Okay, but you get the idea. So next slide is
That's the arcade machine.
yeah, that's the arcade machine that Alex just mentioned. So they want to put it on arcades in the future. And then next slide
It's always
is
slides.
the technical. No, go back. Yeah.
Sorry.
So it has to be able to run on different browsers.
Even
And-
Internet Explorer.
7.
Well, I don't
No, sorry.
Internet Explorer 7.
Well, you see the biggest icon, and I go to the smallest icon, so you see my personal preference.
Yeah, I know, but where's Edge?
Edge. So what is Edge? But it has to also run on a browser. Avatars, I don't know, Alex, about you, but I would do it if we have time.
Oh, that's nice to have.
Yeah, customizing avatars, accessoires is
And there's a lot of cars you actually
Yeah. Let's start with the racing game and have a fun racing game.
that's the thing.
The avatars thingy is something that every company asks because they think it's not a lot of work and it's always an added value, but I don't think in this case that it is.
It's about the racing,
yeah,
not
voilà.
about
So,
nice avatars.
Yeah, so Matthias indeed, Internet Explorer, I would say.
Oh my God,
We'll have a look at
of
what
course
the,
not.
We'll have a look at what the export targets of your
Oh,
game
no,
engine are, and
of
those will be the
Of course
requirements.
not Internet Explorer.
No.
I would never go back to that part of my life again.
Of course not.
Okay.
I think the last time I used Internet Explorer was 1999.
I believe you also have a Moon Monster Space Control.
Moon Monsters is
It's one of the DAE.
yeah, it's a
games
DAE
that
Studios.
started.
So that's actually students I used to teach that now have their company at DAE Studios. Gilles van Quali, family of Steen van Quali.
No.
No?
Van Cooley.
Van Quali.
Van Quali, Van Quali.
Het is ook geen bij
Was het schrijven verkeerd? Het is cool, maar but
So-
they write it wrong.
So what is
Maak je maar guy.
So what it's all about, it's also, this one is a VR game. So the other one was not a VR game, by the way, to be obvious. So this one is a VR game, and you're actually stranded on a planet, and the only way how to get off is to be a, what do you call it, store manager, like you're selling stuff, and you have to sell stuff for aliens constantly. And you build up credits so you can actually leave the planet. And how do you build up credits? No, you have free time. Yeah, free time.
Yeah, so you go to a daily schedule, and
daily
that's
schedule.
sometimes you close your shop, it's evening, and then you have to spend
Yeah.
the evening.
And so the VR world sport is already there, I assume?
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
is a project that's been made by students during the summer at the summer job. So two of you guys that are probably listening right now.
Have made the
already
game.
En
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
And
Jen en Matthias, denk ik.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I forgot the names. I'm sorry,
So it's
guys.
already started by 2 students.
Yeah.
So actually Moon Monsters, it's a DAE company. They started out with 2 people, and I believe they already hired 2 DAE students already.
Yeah, true.
So this is one of their
Yin and Seth.
Yeah. So this is one of their 10% projects that they're spending some time and some money on to see if it has potential.
Yeah.
Now the spaceport is already there, and I believe they want to have some evening games / activities you can do from your cubicle, and they can be entirely different from the game itself. So it's
Yeah, that's
in
cool
game
point.
you will put on a VR head, so you're already in a real VR set. In game you will put on another VR set, and you will end up in a VR game.
So it's like Inception, but then
It's
for
like
VR.
Inception,
Yeah.
but people don't actually understand it. Yeah.
Okay, so next slide.
So that's the spaceports and the day cycle that you already explained, I believe, the role.
Yeah, so indeed it has 4 stages. So like we explained it all this thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're looking for 5 short experiences, preferably we'd like to have
So
them.
mini games. eh?
5.
Yeah, mini games.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
but
see about that.
I'm gonna be happy if we have 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and then we can add as we go if we have.
A minimum of short 5.
Well, you should in the prototype phase think about what are the
So-
options,
Yeah,
what
okay.
are the kind of games.
Voila, that's fine. But
I already have been in contact with Gilles. I wrote him an email because I had this idea for the art style. Because the art style what they have now is not really my cup of tea, and I think it's going to be the same for the students. They go like, if you saw the screenshot, you go like, what the hell? Ratchet and Clank, and I said, can we use like an art style like Ratchet and Clank and make it something really cool? And he was fine. He was totally fine with it. So.
Yeah.
So indeed that's correct.
Yeah,
The art style,
the
the art style of the
art
mini
style
games can deviate from the main game. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we already have some examples. So if you so for the people that were asking for a horror game, it's explicitly mentioned. Eh? You can also do series with a twist at the end or something with a horror theme. There you have it.
Simulated.
That's a bit like Job Simulator indeed. Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah. Okay.
And the target audience, well, it's you guys. Eh? So and then I believe we have one last one, which
Yeah.
you will also present, which is Sakai Games,
Yeah.
Black Saturday.
Yeah, so Sakari Games is, so it's actually a game company, Sakari, founded by Pepijn Reinders.
That's correct. Yes.
Somebody that Alex and I used to work with in Lions, and I used to work with in Davelex in Utrecht. So this guy has now his own game company, and together with his employees he came with this idea. So what is it all about? And you're immediately gonna think about GTA, of course. I'm gonna explain this.
GTA, like,
You're a drug trafficker and packed on European highways. You have to smuggle cocaine, you have to use machine guns and RPGs to blast your way out through dense traffic and so on, shootouts and whatnot. So your classical GTA experience. The only thing, it has to run on a mobile. So it has to run on a mobile. So I don't know if you guys
Or you
out there
switch.
had. I mean, I'm a boomer, I know, and I had a Nintendo DS. I don't know if you guys had a Nintendo DS out there, students, but if some of you can remember China Wars, I think this is going to go to that direction more or less. The game China Wars, so check it out if you can on Nintendo DS.
It's also so that the games of Sakari tend to be quite violent always. There's a
You
lot of-
can look up the games that he
Yeah, so if you check that studio
and
and you see what games they make, blood and gore is their modus vivendi.
we'll be very careful which student we assign to this
Yeah.
person.
So that's the idea as well here. So it can be pure uncut and uncensored shootouts that they really mean that.
How else can there be blood?
In this game there must be blood. There must be blood in this game. Yeah.
Blood is required.
Blood is a requirement. Yeah.
So mobile with Unity and Blender, required hardware and Android powered phones.
The sixth generation.
So casual mobile
Actually,
games.
sorry, correction. According to Hori, I'm X generation. I'm not boomer.
Yeah, he's not a boomer.
I'm X
Yeah, no.
generation. I'm generation X. I'm Greg Araki.
Oh, what
Yes.
generation am I?
What generation is a boomer then?
Yeah, I'm actually at the end of the X generation. I'm barely Y.
You
But
want-
From 50 to 40 or something
Yeah.
are right now are X generations.
Ah,
Yeah,
so
okay.
behind
No,
50 is
Guys,
It depends on-
Guys, you're distracting the millennials.
So people like Rick and Carl are boomers then.
Yes.
Rick is a boomer.
Rick is a boomer.
Come on, let's continue.
Sorry about that. We we are deviating. So mobile
So,
Android,
mobile game,
Unity because they develop in Unity,
Yeah.
and also Blender, but you're
Yeah.
not obligated.
and then we'll finish up because we still have some student projects that need some extra team members also, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
so,
Okay, but first this one.
yeah.
So this is Mantis.
Belgian
Also-
Game Studio?
Also a Belgian game studio. They're located in Ghent, and they also had a project. Next slide. It's actually something they already worked on quite a lot. Astro Harvest. It's a VR game. It was meant to be multiplayer, and it was you're on a planet. You need to cultivate fruit, and you can shoot it at each other. That was the basic premise. But yeah, for some reason that was put in the fridge. This project, they couldn't work on it anymore, so they pulled it out of their fridge for us. The idea now is to make it a little bit different. It's like a Space Pirate Trainer combined with Fruit Ninja, indeed, combined with turret defense games. So these three mashed together is what you need to do. So you shoot fruit at enemies that come at you. You need to cultivate fruit so that you have ammo, and you can buy turrets that help you defend your base. And that's it. That's the whole premise. And there's an art style that you have to keep you to that art style. So this is some project that will require artists of course, but not that many. You already got a lot of input there. But you take this IP and you change it into a new space pirate-like
Plants
game.
versus Zombies, you already
Voila. So it's a mashup of all these things.
So it's good to see you guys already having ideas and spitting them out in the chat, because
so-
that's what we like to see with these projects.
Yeah.
Actually.
So the fun thing of this is that it should be doable within the 10 weeks that we have to create a finished game out of this that we can really publish, and that would be extremely cool if we get to that point. Yes.
So friendly, that's clear already. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a prototype that's already there that needs to be expanded.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Alex, do you have slides for the student project?
I don't
or,
have slides for the student projects.
So I'll just put on the webcam so you can explain.
Yeah, I'll do that. Give me the webcam. That sounds a good idea. Okay, so we have student projects as well. Most of them are already fully filled, but we have two games that need team members. I'm going to put, so if you check Lego by now, there's a modular gate project which has project briefs for every project. I will add the slides that we showed you today to every project, so bear with me, I will do that today, so that this is a module that will grow today. And there's also two projects of students. I will also add their pitch presentation and the information they gave us. Two of them, first one is Great Blade. That is a project that needs 4 extra students. And then there's the project Area, and I think that one needed 1 if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
so
Let me
it's
check.
So one is a roguelike blade mechanic based game, right?
Yes.
And Ida is a more narrative game focusing on the story of a homeless guy. I believe the students already in contact with a homeless shelter to get some stories from there and to avoid the typical cliches. It's one of those things that we really liked due to the input that the students had on the project and the possible directions. They're also very open for input from other people, we noticed.
And so Area needs 2 GD students, 2 programs, because it's a project of 3 artists, and Great Blade is from an artist, so he will need some extra artists and some GD students. But I'll put that information online after this stream. That's what I'm going to do for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So you'll see that module grow. So watch out for that information. I also will put online your top 3 survey. So there will be a survey on Lehu where you can enter which 3 projects that you would like to participate on. The deadline will be tomorrow night.
So it's a bit early, but that's the only way we can actually give you the chosen the product you chose by Friday.
Yeah.
So because we do expect you on Monday to get started contacting the company, so we want to be able to give you the product that has been assigned to you on Friday. So that means by Thursday evening we can know which is your top 3.
Yeah, and then on Friday we will do the division, and I think there's even a kickoff moment for 3DAE. So by then I hope we have everyone divided over all the projects.
General talk.
And outside of stuff, and that will it's a general thing. I'll do it. Okay, maybe do we need to add something? If you guys have questions, please shoot in the chat.
I think we answered most of them. We'll give you a minute or two because there's some delay between what you hear from us and what you type. So.
Goodbye. No questions. Goodbye. No questions. Goodbye. No.
So I hope we actually made it clear to you of what the point now is of group projects and took away some of the doubts you had about what's going to happen this year. So you also noticed that we put group projects first instead of graduation work. The reason is that in a few weeks we will also be giving you some input on what will be expected of you for graduation work, and we'll take a little bit of the time for group projects to allow you to prepare your proposals for graduation work too. So that seemed like a good change this year. Do we need to add anything else, team? I think that's about it.
The schedule for Friday.
Yeah, the people are asking for the schedule. I assume that's on the general info site. But I have no.
So I think everything by Friday is online. If you can maybe take up the Excel from Kevin.
Yeah, you can take up the Excel from Kevin.
It's in 007.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have
but it should be on the DAE info site on the emails.
It's in the morning, and for the English it's in the afternoon.
So I was assuming you guys were already aware of that, because 1 DAE and 2 DAE got where they should need where they needed to be.
So you'll get some general information on Friday also about the internships and so on. But it's not, as Alex said, it's normally all on the internship side. If it's not, send an email to Alex and
we'll have the time from 9 until 10 for the Dutch group in the morning, and then in the afternoon from 1:30 until 2:30 for the
but check the details on Leo.
If you don't find the details on Leo, send an email to Alex and we'll have a look what went wrong, but it should be there.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, so no more questions in the chat?
Let's see. Family, no. What is the deadline for group project? How much time do we have? Didn't get a memo for the schedule. So the deadline for group projects, I do not know what you mean. So the deadline for the top 3 is Thursday evening.
Yeah.
10 weeks.
Are you still doing the general talk on Friday?
There's a general talk.
So on Friday, Alex will give you the information on what we see as the timeline of how these projects will go. For those of you that can't wait, normally we'll start with 2 weeks of prototyping, and then we'll have several different sprints, and I believe the last 2 weeks will be reserved for polishing the game. And the entire project takes about 10 weeks, I think. Which I don't ask you for the exact dates.
It's 10 weeks. So we start on Tuesday the 21st, and we will end November 27th. So that means it's literally 10 weeks.
After which we'll organize the presentations and so on and get you started on grad work.
The week after that is indeed.
This is the team that will actually be guiding you also. So every will be with 2 people, 1 developer and 1 artist. So you'll be assigned 2 people that will do the weekly follow-up. We've decided this year to have a bit more of a hands-on and a more of a core team also to give you feedback and to make sure that you do your dailies. We'll also have our desk in the hive with you guys at least 1 or 2 days a week. I believe Tristan and Alex are almost full-time on group projects.
That's great.
Every day almost.
So you'll be in their good hands. I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah? Well, maybe about Tristan's head. You know where they have them. Okay. That's it? It's a wrap?
No.
No
more questions.
All the other questions, guys. I'm not so sure if the Discord is already open for students. The new one.
Juliana is asking how many days do we have to be in the hive?
Half a day?
Every day half a day.
Every day half a day.
Every day half a day you need to be in the hive.
Every day half a day with
Julian. As mentioned, we'll stick to the Corona rules as good as possible. Indeed, some of us were not having masks because apparently the microphone didn't pick up the sound in the beginning that well. But you'll be here half a day wearing masks.
Yeah.
We'll go through some rules on you having to clean your desk after each session, about disinfecting your hands and so on. So, yeah, guys, Corona is still here. It's not something we have in our control.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
So,
Okay. You want to close it up, Alex?
Yeah,
Leave
I'm
it to
just
you.
checking if the Discord is already open, because otherwise people can ask questions there, and then I'll sit on that. I'll keep an eye on that
Goodbye.
stream. Oh shit.
You can afsluiten.
Well,
Yep.
let's wrap up. If you have
Let's wrap up.
questions,
Bye,
either
guys.
email or use Discord, and I'll try to see what we can do to help you with your question. And Friday there's that info moment. We'll answer everything else there. Alright, there's a chat active. Voila, very good.
Okay.
Hey, afgesloten?
Give me a minute. And stream. There we go.
Okay. Degene die nog samen confused, did not pay attention, and the student groups